So we have a little treat today. This is a 2021 Talon Deluxe live valve. Pretty sweet. Really like the graphics and the dark color, black A-arms. Looks almost tactical. This thing's got some 33 XM310Rs on it. Pretty neat tire. We're gonna test those out in a little bit. The reason it's here is because we did the old Mud Puppy Stealth Snorkel on it. I really want to test out the launch control, but didn't want to launch someone else's buggy on 33-inch XM310s. So put the stock tires back on it. But look how much down travel this thing has once you jack it up and set it down. It looks hilarious on the stock tires. I always forget how silly the Talons are with their insane down travel. Oh. So now we can safely test out launch mode, which is one of the things you get with the Deluxe. But really you get that with any live valve. So my live valve I'll get, eventually we'll have that. Deluxe gets you the windshield, light bar, winch, this package, bumper. It gives you this little thing right here with a voltmeter to check your winch and all that stuff. So, okay, so it's properly warmed up. We're gonna do launch control. To do that, put it in high range, put it in sport mode, hold down launch mode. So foot on the brake, hold down launch mode until you get the launch light right here, like 3 seconds. Pull in both paddles, rev it to the floor, and then release both paddles and the brake simultaneously. Holy shit, that's awesome! It launches really hard. Let's see what it did in my yard. Wow, that's cool. It digs some ruts too. That was four-wheel drive. Oh. So launch mode does work in four-wheel drive. All right, we'll do it one more time in two-wheel drive. I don't want to abuse it too much. On the brake, hold down launch mode till the light comes on. Pull in both paddles. So in two-wheel drive, launch mode just does a huge burnout.
The four-wheel drive launch was awesome.
That was awesome, yeah. If it was mine, I would definitely do that with big tires just to see how long the clutches last. As long as you're on loose ground, it's not going to hurt the clutches. But if you do it on pavement, look at these ruts it just dug. Wow. Okay, now we're going to do a different test. To try to see if the suspension does anything, there's a comfort and a sport switch over here. We're going to blindfold the passenger and see if you can tell the difference between comfort and sport. We're going to do the exact same lap at the exact same speed, about 20 miles an hour, and see if he can tell the difference. Because I can kind of tell, but I'm biased because I know I switched the buttons. We're going to do the old blind test. All right, give me the phone because you're blind.
I have motion sickness.
Oh, good. He doesn't get sick. That helps. And so pay attention to how it feels. I'm going to try to hit the same bumps every time at the same speed.
All right.
All right, so that was your first lap. How do you feel about that lap?
I feel like it was pretty stiff.
All right, well, we'll see if you're right or not.
Yeah, but I don't have anything to compare it to, so...
Lap two, we'll do 3 and see if you can get all 3. All right, which lap was smoother?
This one.
Okay, we're gonna do one more. We'll see. We'll see if he knows what's going on or not.
So in 2 settings?
Yeah. It's continuously adjusting the whole time, but there's 2 modes.
Right.
Allegedly continuously adjusting.
You're saying it's one more.
Yeah. The advertisements would have you believe. All right, you can take off your mask. So was that lap the same, harder, or softer than the second lap?
That was the same as the second lap.
Wow, he got all 3 right. It looks like it passed the blind test. As the driver's noticing when I'm gonna hit big whoops and stuff, it definitely is softer when you have it in normal mode or comfort. So that's good for Honda, outstanding.
I think one of the other giveaways was in the stiffer setting, I could feel when your foot wasn't steady on the throttle because the suspension was dropping as it was hitting the bumps.
Yeah, it does something. I was paying attention that time, like, okay, I hit that bump at 20 last time, and I felt the wheel come up this much. And when I headed in stiff mode, the wheel did not move as much. I was looking at the wheel.
Bump over here that I couldn't really.
So we just drove it around a little bit, tested out the suspension, tested out launch control. Four-wheel drive's really impressive. It really sits back on its haunches and goes. Two-wheel drive just spins the tires. These tires don't have the grip the YXZ tires do, that's for sure. They like to slide a lot more, which is fun, but the YXZ just feels a lot more serious and purposeful, whereas this thing is more comfortable and fun. Obviously the better side-by-side, but the Yamaha is new to me, so it's cool. We left the wheel spacers on the back, so it's very stanced right now. It gives it this really crazy, stable thing going on, and because the back's wider, it wants to slide around a lot, which is a lot of fun. But so that was a good shakedown test for the Snorkel, so now we can come in here and check the connections after it got some vibration on it. Everything feels good. You actually want that amount of flex in it right here. You never want to work the joint in the boot. You want this boot to bend, not your airbox boot. It'll eventually loosen it up off the airbox. And so I know you guys are going to ask, I think someone already asked, how do I like these tires? They're pretty cool. We're going to show you how much they weigh on a rim. They're fairly light. Don't think they're quite as light as the 33 Aztec, but wow, that's actually really impressive. About 68 pounds if it'll balance. $67.8 pounds on a, is that a 15 or a 14 inch wheel? Oh, that's an 18, shoot. Okay, yeah, so this is a 33 by 9.5 by 18. So pretty similar to the Aztec 33, right? And really similar weight. I don't remember the Aztec weight exactly on tires, have to look it up. But these are some ITP tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever. Look really good. I like the side knobby on them. That pulls really good. They do wear kind of funny. If you hit pavement, they start to chop. And they're really aggressive. In the pond, in the soft, wet sand, if I didn't feather the throttle, you could feel them digging a lot. The Aztecs are a little more forgiving, but in a lot of mud, these are going to provide more traction. In wet sand, not so much. They kind of want to dig holes, it feels like. You definitely got to feather the throttle. It's one of those tires where you either got to hit it wide open and maintain momentum or really, really creep. There's not a whole lot of in between just because the tread design is so aggressive. It just takes buckets out. There's not a whole lot of slipping going on. But I like them how light they are. And on this thing, they ride really good. It doesn't seem to bog the Talon down at all. One thing we're starting to do on these is turn this in at a 45-degree angle because a lot of mud still does end up getting thrown up at here when you have a wider offset tire without fender flares. So by turning it at a 45-degree angle, it keeps it a lot cleaner, I find. See how much mud is actually, you actually see the mud caked up in here already. So by turning it away from that, it keeps it a little cleaner. And you want it facing forward like that because then it gets the shielding from the roof. So if water drips down through this crack, it doesn't end up in your snorkel. So that's where I like to put the pipe. It's hidden up there. You know, it follows that pipe nicely so you don't really see it. This is 2.5-inch boost tubing. It comes in a box like this for $100. You chop it up and get the right angles. So out of the air box, that's the factory boot. And then we have a 2-inch coupler on there going into a 45 roughly, going into, which ends up being like a 60. And then you cut the pipe at an angle here so it fits down in there right. And then it goes up to a 90. So that's, once you get those angles figured out, you gotta play with it a little bit. For this, you just cut as needed to get it through there. You don't need to cut these plastics. It'll fit through the hole. There's one vent line here. This is your rear diff and your transfer case. You can see there's a T right there. And then in the front, there's 2 vent lines. One is gas tank and the other is your fan and diff teed together. You can see that T right here. So there's a diff and the fan. Nice big lines, they all match so it looks clean up the roll cage. And then I tuck this one up in here in this little cubby so it's protected when you wash it and stuff. Most important vent line is obviously your fuel tank. If you get water in your diffs, just change them, not a huge deal. We leave the radiator in the factory location because I've yet to ever see a Talon in that factory location get contamination in here. And if it overheats, you don't want to blow boiling water on your passenger, so that's the right place to put it. Snorkel test. It's gonna be cold. box was underwater for a while right there because that whole side dunked in. I lost his glove. I gotta go retrieve that. Let's see what we got. That's bone dry.